Good evening. Welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Waterville City Council. If anybody would like an agenda, I believe they're on a stool just outside the door. And Representative Perkins is here. Would you stand and please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up on the agenda, we have an oath of office for our new city councilor, Mr. Richard Foss.
Please raise your right hand, and I state your name.
I, Richard Foss,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge,
that I will faithfully discharge,
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities,
the duties incumbent upon me
the duties incumbent upon me
as a city councilor
as a city councilor
for the city of Waterville.
for the city of Waterville.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the election of a council chair, and I will entertain motions for the election of a council chair. Councilor.
First of all, I want to welcome Rick Foss as Ward 5 City Councilor and all new councilors this year in 2020. Being the present chair, of course, I would like to nominate myself to be the continued chairman of the council tonight in light of this annual election where this council chooses a defined leader. I have had the pleasure and privilege of meeting with all of you individually and becoming acquainted with you and others I have formed, as of now, some professional relationships with. In 2019, I was elected by 5 Democrats and 1 Republican. It has been a year of extreme bipartisan support of one another, and I have fostered an enhancement of accessibility, communication between councilors, honesty, humility, and utter transparency like I have never seen before on this city council in my 5+ years serving the city of Waterville. I have carried forth that nonpartisan support and recognition to the extreme, and that I have made myself readily available to all of you via communication through email, phone, and in person. I have helped some of the councilors on this council to have access to committees. The 2019 council was and is a council that could agree to disagree and feel no begrudging of one another based upon their vote or party line affiliation, which I think is a great accomplishment. We looked, talked, and treated each other with consistency in both fairness and kindness, and looked at each other's point of discontent with positive recognition and understanding. That is why I would like to continue that work with all of you this year. I'm a 35-year businessman that manages 75 staff and 11 managers. I am on almost every conceivable city committee there is on the docket in the year's annual report. In 2019, we had many successes, which include a healthy analysis and discussion of the municipal budget that was cut down to less than $500,000 after deliberations and preserved necessary city services from being dangerously cut or depleted. It was compromised municipal budget that passed for the first time without a mayoral veto. Head of Falls, Riverwalk, Colby Partnership, the Build Grant, new parking enforcement of the concourse, the possible development of the Mardens and Central Main Power Building at the commercial, retail, and needed housing, research of solar projects to possibly power all our municipal buildings, and we definitely had an enhancement of our fire department resources, are just to name a few of the things that we have acted upon in 2019. So I've taken this position very seriously, as I do any challenge, and my credibility is something I hold close to the heart, so I humbly ask your consideration.
Is there a second on the motion?
I'm sorry, what are we moving to?
In order for Sydney to be considered as chair, we need a second on the motion. Without a second, is there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Eric Thomas.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Congratulations.
Can I just say something?
Of course you can.
I just want to thank Sydney for the hard work that he's put in the last year. I can tell you without a doubt, there's nobody up here who cares more about this city than Sydney Mayhew does. And he works very hard as a city councilor, and I'm sure that he's going to continue to do that. And I just want you to know that I appreciate all the hard work that you put in, Sydney.
Next, we have the disclosure of conflict of interest. Is there any counselor who feels they have a conflict of interest with the vote they'll take tonight? Seen as none, we will move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Could I get a motion for the approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Unfinished business, ordinance 224, 2019.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
An ordinance providing for amendment to the zoning ordinance.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I'll take a roll call, Patty.
Counselor Morris?
Yes.
Counselor Oliveira?
Yes.
Counselor Smith?
Yes.
Counselor Mayhew?
Yes.
Counselor Foss?
Yes.
Counselor Frankie?
Yes.
Counselor Thomas?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Next, moving on to ordinance 225, 2019.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
An ordinance providing for amendment to the zoning ordinance.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Could I get a roll call, please?
Counselor Morris?
Yes.
Counselor Oliveira?
Yes.
Counselor Smith?
Yes.
Counselor Mayhew?
Yes.
Counselor Foss?
Yes.
Counselor Frankie?
Yes.
Counselor Thomas?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Next is order 226, 2019.
An order providing for acceptance of donation Operation Hope. Be it hereby ordered by the Waterville City Council acting as municipal officers that the City Council accept a donation of $15,000 from Raleigh in support of the city's Operation Hope program and authorize the Chief of Police to expend said funds for program activities.
Move to adopt.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Michael?
I'd like to note that after the article ran in the newspaper maybe 2 weeks ago about the program, we received an additional $2,500 in donations, most of them fairly small amounts. So thank you, Amy, for the article. That's in addition, of course, to this amount.
Okay. A roll call, please.
Counselor Morris?
Yes.
Counselor Oliveira?
Yes.
Counselor Smith?
Yes.
Counselor Mayhew?
Yes.
Counselor Foss?
Yes.
Counselor Frankie?
Yes.
Counselor Thomas?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
And last, under unfinished business, ordinance 228, 2019.
Move to read by title only.
Seconded.
All in favor?
An ordinance providing for amendment to the zoning ordinance.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Counselor Morris?
Yes.
Counselor Oliveira?
Yes.
Counselor Smith?
Yes.
Counselor Mayhew?
Yes.
Counselor Foss?
Yes.
Counselor Frankie?
Yes.
Counselor Thomas?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Moving on to new business, resolution 15, 2020.
Move to read by title only.
Seconded.
All in favor?
A resolution providing for appointing citizens to various boards and committees.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Patty, you take it from here.
I'm going to go ahead to the, we wanted to make an amendment, didn't we?
Sorry, yes. Can we add the fire committee to this and then add the following
Oh.
citizens to that? Jay Coelho, Jessica LaLiberty, John Levesque, and Mike Monk.
So is that a motion to
There's a motion
amend?
to amend
I'll
this
s-
particular, yeah.
I'll second, and I will move the resolution as amended.
Okay. Is all in favor of the amendment?
Moved as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Perfect, thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
So I will head over to the podium, and I'll call the list of names up, and we can do the oaths tonight.
Great.
To the Airport Advisory Committee, Eric Dumond and Brad Fisher. Board of Assessment Review, Pam Merrill. If you can come right up front. Thank you. Board of Zoning Appeals, Eric Dumond, Mark Poirier, and Stephen Crate. The Ethics Committee, Rian Finch, Winona Carnes, and Stephen Crate.
We should clarify, if people aren't here, it doesn't mean they're not going to be on the committees. They'll just have to stop and see Patty.
And actually, some of these folks have actually come in earlier this week.
Okay,
so.
great.
Kennebec Sanitary Treatment District Trustees, Julian Payne, Matt Zetterman, and Paul Jakes.
Based.
Haynes Charity Relief Committee, Margaret Peg Susi, Patricia Loisel. Public Library Trustees, William Grant and Cynthia Jacobs. Waterville Housing Authority, Kim Lane, David Cosgrove, Christina Lynn Cody. Waterville Sewerage District Commission, William Violet. And the Fire Committee, Jay Coelho, Mark Minky, John Levesque, and Jessica LaLiberty. If I could ask you all to please raise your right hands and
We
repeat
got one on the way. Hang on.
after me. Oh, I'm so
Mike's on the
sorry.
way.
Thank you. I apologize. Thank you. Please raise your right hands. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge, to the best of my abilities, the duties incumbent upon me as a member of the committee to which I have been appointed. Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah. You're good. You're good.
And I just want to take a sec to thank all of you and all the people who can't be here. It's incredibly important. These are the things a lot of people don't think about, but in order for the city to function the way that it does, we have all these committees. Everyone has its important place, and we ask people to give up their time to go do these things so that we can operate, and it is much appreciated that you stepped forward and did that for the city. So thank you. Next is Resolution 16, 2020.
A resolution providing for bid award for vehicles, 3/4-ton double cab truck, 1-ton four-wheel drive crew cab, 1-ton two-wheel drive crew cab, and 1-ton four-wheel drive with dump body. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the city be hereby authorized to award a bid in the amount of $181,089.00 to Height Auto Group, Skowhegan, Maine.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Matt, welcome.
Right, thank you. Matt Skane, Waterville Parks and Recreation Department. So yeah, these 4 vehicles are crucial to our operation. We had a committee over the last few years where we determined what the needs were for the department, and these were 4 of our biggest needs. I began here in 2007, so 13 years ago. We purchased just 1 pickup truck in that time, so we're way overdue. 3 of the 4 vehicles are replacement vehicles. The old vehicles are, they're pretty well rusted out. They've served their useful life. So we think we got a very fair deal, nearly $30,000 under what we predicted for our budget. And while the group from Skowhegan won the bid, all 4 of the trucks require special utility bodies. So F3 Manufacturing on the West River Road in Waterville will be assembling the bodies. So of the $180,000 total bid, $49,000 is in the bodies, and that is in F3 in Waterville. So I'm really happy to report that.
Great. And Mike, is this from the bond?
Right. This comes out of our bond issue from last year.
Great. Very good. Any other questions or discussion? All right. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, well, I wanted to take just a few minutes and introduce a few people from Quarry Road.
Oh, please.
And go over just a few items. So if Justin, you could come up, and Joe Reisert could join me. And while they make their way up, hand these out. We have some new board members or council members got it.
Joe just came from the trail, man.
Okay, so just a few things before I introduce Justin and talk about Joe a little bit. So you'll see in your packet there, this bullet sheet has some really useful information that we're very proud of. We're not going to go through it, but in sum, we're doing really well at Quarry Road this year. And thanks to, in large part, Joe Reisert, our president, who's serving his second tenure with the group. Very appreciative of that. And Justin Farashedian, he's our new program director. It's Farashedian. The more you say it, the easier it.
Farashedian.
I'm still practicing.
Farashedian. So Justin started with us October 25th. Hit the ground running, has really pulled off a couple huge events for the town. Lucky to have him, happy to have him. So we also wanted to let you know that, as you see, it's a 2-page, you can flip it over. We have some events coming up. The Colby Winter Carnival is coming up the end of January 31st and February 1st. We'd like to invite all of you out there to check out the venue. I left my own phone number and email at the bottom along with Justin's. Anytime you guys have an hour or two, we would be happy to give you a tour of the facility and answer any questions about how we operate. It's somewhat unique with a nonprofit group and a municipality, but not totally new, and I think that we've got a great model for success. And finally, before Justin comes up, we're very proud to announce that Eric Thomas, Councilor Thomas, has agreed to sit on our board as an ex officio member. And it's not so much, well, it's to help for sure, but it's just to observe what an incredible board we have, how diligent, how competent, how passionate they are about the area. And just like you, Mayor, when thanking the committees, the same thing for these folks. They are putting in so much time and effort for this area. I thank them every day. So we wouldn't be where we are without them. So with that, unless you have any questions for me, I'm going to introduce Justin Farashedian. He was formerly with Outdoor Sport Institute, which before that was Maine Winter Sports for 6 or 7 years or more.
I was with them for 4 years.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
Well, come on up and just say hello.
Hi, welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. So I, like Matt mentioned, I got started at the end of October, and there's been a lot going on since then. One of the first things I did, actually just prior to officially getting started, was I joined in with one of the board meetings, and I was really blown away by our board, just like how organized and on top of it they were, and it's just been a pleasure to work with them throughout this whole time that I've been involved. And we also were able to, because of our awesome volunteer efforts in our snowmaking, we were able to host a large regional competition at Quarry Road Trails over the weekend of December 21st and 22nd. That was supposed to be held at Sugarloaf, but due to the warm weather we had been having, it had to get moved here because we were the only Nordic venue around that had snowmaking, and we had it on a 2.5-kilometer loop, which is a big loop. So it's really awesome what our volunteers have been able to do, and not just with the snowmaking, but for the event itself. We had a week to pull it together, and generally these events are given out months in advance to be able to plan and line everything up. And it was just remarkable how smooth everything went. It was just, I didn't hear anything except positive comments from the other coaches and members there. But yeah, it's been awesome to be a part of it and see how invested this community is. And I'm really proud to be able to help with that. So.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks for coming in so we get to see you. And it's Farashedian.
Yeah,
Farashedian, all right.
Yeah.
We got it. Now we got to take a vote on the Matt's equipment before he goes. Yeah. All in favor?
Great.
Thank you. Resolution 17, 2020.
A resolution providing for support for Maine's bicentennial celebration. Be it resolved by the Waterville City Council acting as municipal officers that the city is in support of the Maine Bicentennial Committee's work to plan, administer, and coordinate programs and projects that commemorate Maine's 200th anniversary of statehood.
Move to adopt.
Seconded.
And we have been in communication also. The cities of Hollowell and Augusta would like to do some joint things. I don't have really any information on that other than we're looking to do some collaboration with them to really help Central Maine pop a little bit, and some more to come on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a short video.
Maine. It is a place. It is an idea. It is something that caught spirit early on, drawing people to its woods and waters. Maine became an independent member of the United States in 1820. So in 2020, we observe a birthday, 200 years of statehood. 200 years of struggle and growth. 200 years of amazing people, national and world leaders in government, the military, business, education, and the arts. The path has not always been easy, but it has been true, and it's not over. At 200, Maine has barely begun. As we say happy birthday to Maine, we commemorate 2 centuries of statehood. We reflect on what was. We look around at what is. And we prepare for what is to come. We invite you to join us for the events in towns and cities throughout the state that will mark Maine's bicentennial. Explore our rich history, revel in our remarkable present, and envision the future of this place, our home, Maine.
Where'd Mike go?
The second video made him disappear.
All right, all in favor? Okay. Next is Resolution 18, 2020.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
A resolution providing for referral to the planning board.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor? Resolution 19, 2020.
A resolution providing for referral to the planning board. Be it resolved by the Waterville City Council acting as municipal officers that in accordance with Article 7, Section 7.1 of the zoning ordinance, a proposal to amend the zoning map is hereby referred to the planning board for public hearing and recommendation.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Resolution 20, 2020.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
A resolution providing for authorizing renewal of a special amusement license to Elks Lodge of Waterville, Maine Incorporated, doing business as Elks Lodge number 905.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Resolution 21, 2020.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
A resolution providing for renewal of a special amusement permit to Eric Willett, Ryan Flaherty, doing business as Waterville Brewing Company.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Resolution 22, 2020.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
A resolution providing for authorizing renewal of a special amusement license to Stephen Reynolds, doing business as TJ's Classic Billiards.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Ordinance 23, 2020.
An ordinance providing for amendment to the zoning ordinance. Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that Articles 3, 4, and 5 of the zoning ordinance are amended as shown on the following page.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Ordinance 24, 2020.
An ordinance providing for amendment to licenses and permits ordinance to add a reference to marijuana ordinance. Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the licenses and permits ordinance be amended to add a reference to the marijuana ordinance.
Move to adopt.
And second.
Discussion?
Can you just explain this, Patty?
Well, now this is a newly enacted ordinance, the marijuana ordinance, and when it was time to actually issue the licenses, everyone was a little confused as to how to proceed, so it ended up back in the clerk's office where we administer all of the business licenses. So basically, we felt that this type of license should be handled just as all the other licenses. So by adding a reference in the licenses and permits ordinance, it allows us to have check to make sure personal property taxes are paid, that code has authorized approval, and fire has authorized approval. So it really just allows the city clerk's office to administer this type of license like all other licenses.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Ordinance 25, 2020.
An ordinance providing for amendment to the marijuana ordinance. Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the marijuana ordinance be amended to clarify that the city clerk administers the licensing of all marijuana facilities, that license fees are collected at the time of application, that the license fees are refunded if the license is not granted, and specifies that annual license fees apply to medical marijuana cultivation facilities.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? Councilor Thomas?
Mike, I know that some citizens had raised concerns about the legalities of this. Did we clear up those issues?
Yes, we did. Yeah, Bill Lee spent a fair amount of time this past week looking at that question that was raised about can we actually charge for some of the marijuana licensing, and yes, we can.
Any other questions or discussion? From the public? Take a vote. All in favor? Moving on to councilor updates. Are there any councilor updates this evening? Next is community notes. Community notes is a time where if anybody has something they would like to discuss or speak about that was not on the agenda, now would be the time to do so. We ask you to come, state your name, tell us where you live, and what you have to say.
I'm Nancy Sanford, and I live in Ward 1, specifically May Street. And I just wanted to publicly thank the Waterville Police Department and all the other Central Maine law enforcement people that responded to all of the shootings that went on Saturday night. I happened to be listening to Dateline, and so when I heard, I was in another room, and when I heard what I identified as 3 gunshots, I thought it was on Dateline. And when I looked out of my front window, noticed that across the street there were 2 Waterville PD cruisers there, and it evolved from there. And the Waterville PD, I think, did a wonderful job, and they were there until the folks had been apprehended. And I just was, as the person who lives directly across from the folks that were targeted, I was very grateful for their swift and informative action. And it struck me when an officer who I don't think was more than 25 or 30 came to my door and asked me if I knew what was going on, and I said no. And she told me what was going on, that when she went to work that day, she didn't know, and her family didn't know, whether she'd come home okay or not. And that just sort of struck me in the face that our first responders do that every day. And I'm just very grateful to them.
Thank you, Nancy. Anybody else for community notes?
Hello, Julian Payne, Ward 5. I'm hearing a lot of questions in the community about the replacement coming up for the city manager. There's concerns, and I think it might be time to start getting a debate or doing searches across the nations. Questions are, do we have to advertise it across the entire nation? Businesses don't like uncertainty. You know, people looking to invest would like to know who the city manager will be. There'll be a lot of discussion and debate. Personally, I'd like to see definitely advertised, maybe someone with a business degree, accounting degree, past experience, and sometimes fresh blood is a good thing. So I think it's going to be a big thing coming up, and it's never too soon to start looking, and sometimes people give a year's notice between jobs, and really getting the right person in to, you know, do the justice to the business community and the tax-paying residents. Thank you.
I believe our plan is to go out and start that search sometime in the spring, but yes, we do have Mike on the payroll to the end of December, so we're certainly not going to be looking to bring someone on any earlier than that.
No.
But we will be doing
I'm not calling to remove him.
we will be we will be
Just for
doing
clarification.
a very
Yep.
thorough search, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of stakeholders involved in that. So,
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Yep.
anybody else for community notes?
Mayor, if I might.
Yes.
I would just remind everyone that the Charter Commission is having its public hearing regarding proposed changes to the city charter tomorrow evening in this location at 7 p.m. Members of the public are encouraged to attend and give their opinion on what they like about the charter and what they think possibly could be changed.
Mike, manager's report.
Well, the only item I have is one that was just mentioned from the podium. That's just to let you know that at your next meeting on the 17th, I intend to come forward with an outline of the search process and how that whole thing can go. So be on the lookout for information from me email-wise, and then we'll talk about it 2 weeks from now.
And Mike did talk to me about that this week. It wasn't just because of Julian, so that's what. Just being clear here.
Yep,
We went over it.
we went over it. 359 days, but who's counting?
You notice he timed his knee surgery for that. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.